哎，等一下，各位嘉宾好，等一下好，我柯雨瑞，今天这有闪光灯的好，那这样呢？这样就没有了哈。好，今天非常高兴恭请欢迎菲律宾移民局的移民官佘如霖来给我们介绍菲律宾的这一个刑事诉讼法他的资料是从这个菲律宾的 Laws and Jurisprudence Data Bank 的 Law Field Project 里面引述过来，这样好，那个 The first you can introduce yourself.
Good afternoon, everyone. 我叫佘如霖，我来自菲律宾的移民官。Today I am going to report about the Philippine criminal justice system. 对不起，我的中文不好。Okay, so my report will focus on the criminal procedure of the Philippine criminal system. So the main sources is from the Philippine 2000 Rules of Criminal Procedure. So we will discuss a summary or an excerpt of the criminal procedure Rule 110 until Rule 122 until appeal. So my presentation is as a disclaimer, my presentation is just an excerpt, or this is not the whole or the complete criminal procedure, but only the important or salient provisions. My sources come from this website, Philippine Laws and Jurisprudence Data Bank, as well as other law school reviewer. I have shared all the links to our class line. The link for this one.
OK，
等
一下哈，跟各位嘉宾报告这个菲律宾刑事诉讼法的规则。OK， 然后它的刑事司法系统。
Okay, so the Philippine criminal system has 5 main pillars. We have the law enforcement pillar, prosecution, court. We also have the correction and mobilized community. So let's start briefly with the law enforcement. So law enforcement, this is the most visible symbol of authority. They're the most obvious symbol of authority, and law enforcement affects the arrest of those people who violated the law. A person who has violated the law may be apprehended by the Philippine National Police or the military, armed forces of the Philippines, the National Bureau of Investigation, Philippine Narcotics Group, and other law enforcement agencies. The law enforcement is the prime mover.
预想，哦，有出现了。
因为他那个休眠，所以他摸一下就好了。
哦，
荧幕的休眠。
哦，因为休眠。
So the law enforcement is the prime mover or the initiator of action and dominates the activity of the other pillars. So it starts from the law enforcement, like the police officers or the military, and then we have the prosecution. The second pillar is the prosecution, which means that they consider the background to determine whether the person arrested or the accused for violating the law should be prosecuted. Prosecution falls under the Department of Justice. We have an office under the Philippine Department of Justice called the National Prosecution Services. So those are where the public prosecutors are assigned. Then we have the third pillar, the court. So the court is the cornerstone of the system, wherein it determines whether the person charged with criminal offense is innocent or guilty. When the court of law finds an individual guilty of violating the law, a sentence shall be imposed upon him. Either this is not to change the criminal's attitude, but as a form of penalty. So in the Philippines, we have different courts. We have the Metropolitan Trial Court, the Regional Trial Court, or the RTC. We also have Family Court, Sharia Court, Sandigan Bayan, Court of Appeals, and the highest is the Supreme Court of the Philippines. So I have provided a brief description for each one. So with the Metropolitan Court is limited to territorial jurisdiction, and they handle cases involving small claims, violation of city or municipal ordinances, and criminal cases where penalty does not exceed 6 years of imprisonment. So the penalty should not exceed 6 years.
6 years do not exceed 6 years prison.
Okay. The regional trial court are courts of general jurisdiction handling more serious cases, more serious than the Metropolitan Trial Court, and civil cases where the amount involved exceeds the jurisdictional limits of lower courts. So 6 years or more imprisonment. Then we also have family court, which specializes in courts that handle cases related to family relationships, relations, such as annulment of marriage, legal separation, adoption, cases involving minors, and they are also part of the regional trial court. Then we have Sharia court. Since the lower part of the Philippines, which is Mindanao, is mostly populated by Muslim Filipinos, we have the Sharia court. Sharia court handles cases of Muslim personal laws, such as Muslim matters like marriage, divorce, and inheritance. Then we have Sandigan Bayan. This means that this is a special court that handles cases involving government officials accused of graft and corruption, violations of the anti-graft and corrupt practices, and other related offenses. So Sandigan Bayan handles cases which involves public or government officials. And the highest form of court is the Supreme Court of the Philippines. We also have the Court of Appeals. The Court of Appeals is the appellate court. This means that it reviews decisions and judgment of lower courts, such as the MPC and RTCs. It has the authority to correct the errors in the application or interpretation of the law. So if someone wants to question the judgment from the RTC or MPC, they go to the Court of Appeals. So it's an appellate court. Then the last is the Supreme Court. Supreme Court is the highest court in the Philippines. It has the authority to review decisions of lower courts and original jurisdiction over certain cases. It is responsible for interpreting the Constitution. Okay. Then we have the corrections. So correction is when a person has been already proven guilty beyond reasonable doubt, that person must be placed under confinement for the protection of the criminal and the community's welfare. The criminals are considered prisoners. They are served their sentence imposed by the court for transgressing the law. So in the Philippines, we have the Bureau of Corrections for national prisons, the Bureau of Jail Management and Penology for city and municipal jails, and the goal is to rehabilitate the offenders and prepare them for eventual reintegration into society. So this branch, this branch of administration of justice is charged with the responsibility for the custody, supervision, and rehabilitation of convicted offender, meaning the prisoners. The purpose is to prevent repetition of the unlawful activities without necessarily taking punitive action, not to really punish, but to prevent any repetition of unlawful activities. Okay, so we now go to the process.
Process.
I mean the flow of the crime.
哦，那个刑事诉讼的菲律宾刑事诉讼的那个流程。哦 ，OK。
So it starts with the commission of the crime. Then we have 3 processes. If the crime requires preliminary investigation, the yellow box. And then whether the crime does not require preliminary investigation, or if the crime is committed in flagrante delicto, meaning on the spot or caught red-handed, or in hot pursuit. So we'll first discuss this part, the yellow one, which requires preliminary investigation.
Rudy, this is the section 110.
This is the section 110 of the
Philippine
criminal procedure from this one.
现在如林研究生要跟大家介绍的是110条，110条 prosecution of causes。OK， 菲律宾的那个 the revised 修正的菲律宾刑事诉讼法规则，新修正的菲律宾刑事诉讼法规则 rules 110条。好 ，OK，continue。Very nice.
We
Good.
go to rule
Good.
110.
110
110.
section. Okay.
Which is the prosecution of offense. In rule 1, section 3 of rule 110, it defined what constitutes a criminal action. What is a criminal action?
Oh.
A criminal action is one by which the state prosecutes the person for the commission, or omission of punishable law, for the act or for omitting omission punishable by law. So what's the difference between criminal action and civil action? Criminal action, the state prosecutes the accused. They punish the accused or they punish the person for the violation of criminal law. In civil action, on the other hand, individuals or entities file lawsuits to seek compensation or redress for private wrongdoings, and the outcome often involves monetary damages rather than criminal penalties. So, how is criminal action instituted? So, in Section 1, Rule 110, the filing with the proper officer for the purpose of conducting preliminary investigation, filing of complaint with the prosecutor's office, or direct filing in court. So it can start with the filing of complaint either at the office of the prosecutor or direct filing to the court. So section 3 to 4 of Rule 110.
等一下哈 ，Rudy， 各位嘉宾，他这个是他翻译成是投诉啊，事实上我们应该叫做起诉了哈，起诉 ，OK， 起诉。
They defined or they distinguished the difference between a complaint and an information. So here it says that a complaint is a sworn statement, meaning it is under oath, a written statement charging a person with an offense, subscribed by the offended party, or any peace officer or public officer charged with the enforcement of law. And while information means this is an accusation in writing charging a person with an offense, it should be subscribed by the prosecutor. So complaint subscribed by either offended party or peace officer or public officer. Information, on the other hand, is subscribed by the prosecutor and filed with the court. The information does not require any oath, or it's not under oath. Okay. So general requirements. What are the general requirements for filing a complaint? It should be in writing.
In writing.
It's not oral. It should be in writing.
In writing.
And in the name of the people of the Philippines. So people of the Philippines versus and the name of whoever is accused. And against all